Joining me today is Aynslee Gavey, the founder of the Arena Admin. She's a virtual assistant and she's tailored her business specifically for horse business owners, Western entrepreneurs, and agriculture based operations. Running a business in this world takes grit, hustle, and a whole lot of heart. And the Arena Admin is all about taking that weight off of the business owners, the administrative chaos off your shoulders, and you can focus on doing what's best for your business. Whether it's managing schedules, organizing events, streamlining client communication, or simply making sense of the paperwork, Aynslee has created a business that understands the lifestyle and the workload of equine professionals. So, welcome to the Fit for Halter podcast, Aynslee.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You bet, you bet. We are glad to have you, and I know that many of us can use and tap into your administrative skills, even if it's just for an hour. So, thanks for being here.
Of course.
We're going to start at the beginning and learn more about not only you, but the business. So tell us what inspired you to launch the Arena Admin.
Yeah, so actually, it was kind of something that I hadn't thought about a ton before kind of diving in. Back in March, I was on a work trip with a friend, and we just kind of started to have a conversation about other ways I could see myself being in the industry. I'm also an equine photographer, and she kind of brought up a lot of my strengths as I had been interning her for a little while at that point. And I loved photography, but I also wanted to do something unique in the industry, something that needed to happen in the industry. So we started brainstorming right there in her truck, driving through the middle of nowhere, and we actually came up with the name at that time as well. And then in April, once I was home from that trip, I sat down and kind of started getting everything together, and we officially launched on April 13th of this year.
So what was the start? When was the conversation in the truck? Was that
So the
March?
conversation in the truck was March, and I launched in April.
Nice. And I love
Yeah.
your logo, by the way. I
Thank
love
you so
that.
much.
It's awesome. So, whew, okay, lickety split. Here we are.
Yes.
So, you just shared the moment that you realized the need. Tell us a little bit more about some of the specific needs that you saw before you actually created the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my photography business in
Mm-hmm.
September of 2024. And during that process of getting everything legal and doing all the things that you have to do when you're first starting a business, I started to realize that I really enjoyed those types of work, doing all the paperwork and organizing and getting ready. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm. No, whatever it is
Oh,
in the
okay.
background, you mean? No,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, good. Sorry.
It's okay.
But I realized that I was doing these things and I actually really enjoyed it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
kind of thought about some other people I knew that were small business owners or entrepreneurs in some way or another, and how they had a very different experience with their feelings
Mm-hmm.
about these types of tasks. And so then I kind of started putting together like, hey, maybe I could help other people run their businesses because I like to do this stuff.
Very smart. Yeah. It's a small subset of people who enjoy the administrative tasks. And there's
Right.
a lot
And
to it when you're showing and have, well, small business in general, but there's a lot to it.
the other part is most people want to start a small business because they want to do the thing that they are offering, not because
Mm-hmm.
they want to run a small business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. So then, did your background start in horses? Are you a business major? Tell us a little bit about your background and how the two worlds came together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started riding when I was 5. I'm 24 now. So background definitely in horses. I've been in love with it for my all the life that I can remember. I started doing 4-H when I was young, and then I went into the barrel racing world doing NBHA. And then at the end of high school and beginning of college was when I started to get into the ranch and the reining stuff, which I love. And then when I graduated college, I graduated with my bachelor's of business administration. I dual majored in marketing and general business. And then I worked in corporate for a year and a half. I worked for a big automotive company here in Michigan, and I did not like it. It was not for me. And in August of last year, I had to retire my heart horse at only
Mm,
15 years old due to an injury. And so I basically wanted to figure out a way to stay involved in the industry, knowing that I
mhm,
couldn't afford a second horse.
mhm,
So, kind of, my background is definitely in horses, but I've always kind of had a business mindset and knew that that's what I wanted to do when I got to college, especially because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I knew that a business degree would give me a lot of options.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. What a great mix. Knowing the horse business, having a heart for horses, and um, the business side.
Yes, it's a
That's
dream come true, honestly.
that's awesome. What a great way to start a business, to be able to carry out your dream. Then it doesn't feel like work, right? There's some famous person that said something about that.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't remember it now, but some sort of quote about, you know,
Yes.
when
If
play
you,
becomes work or work becomes play, then you know you're in the
yeah,
right spot. Yeah, something like
right.
that. Yeah, I'm probably butchering it, but that's very cool. So, diving in a little bit to the business and your clients, for somebody who's never heard of a virtual assistant, what kind of tasks do you typically take off people's plates?
Yeah. So for someone who's never heard of a virtual assistant, they're pretty prevalent in a lot of different industries these days with
Mm-hmm.
how we are with technology. And it's usually just somebody who can take tasks that can be done remotely and take them off your plate, to give whoever they work for um, some weight lifted off their shoulders or some time to focus on other things that are more pressing and need their attention.
Mm-hmm.
So a virtual assistant usually does scheduling, emailing, uh, all like website updates. I mean, they can do a very large array of
Mm-hmm.
things. The thing that's different about me is that using my background in the equine industry, I am an equine virtual assistant. And so I kind of think of it as a regular virtual assistant could absolutely probably help you with some of the tasks that you need done, but my insight and my experience into the industry helps me customize the type of support I'm giving you and just
Mm-hmm.
understand what you're dealing with.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And what does a typical day look like for you?
So that is a great question. I do not have a typical day, to be completely honest. Every day is completely different, and that is why I love this so much. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons that I really got burnt out when I was doing my corporate job was because it was so monotonous and
Mm-hmm.
I was so bored. And so that was like my another one of the reasons why doing this was seemed so perfect for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to stay engaged, I need something interesting to be engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, my typical days are a little bit different because I've been traveling for a lot of horse shows as a second shooter. So I'm gone a lot of the weekends, end of the week into the weekends. And so
Mm-hmm.
usually my first day home is a recovery day because that's a tough job, being out there for 12 or 14 hours shooting. So I usually have a recovery day, and then the next day I kind of just get back to whatever tasks are on my to-do list, which varies greatly day to day and week to week and all that kind of good stuff. So I love that it's different every day. That is like one of the key things that is best about this job for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you work with, I'm sure, a variety of folks, including trainers, creatives, and business owners of any kind. So then how do you tailor your support to the different types of people that you would call clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So I everything I do is fully customizable. If you go on my website, you will see different options of things that I can do for you and different ways to work with me, but every single thing I do is completely custom to the person I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I decided to go that way because even though we're all in the same industry and all the clients I'm working with are in the same industry, we're all in the industry in very different ways. And even trainer to trainer, things vary so
Mm-hmm.
much that I just thought I want this to be fully open-ended for everyone to be able to get the most out of it that they can.
Mhm. Mhm.
And everyone has their different strengths and weaknesses, and I don't ever want to be stepping on toes. So we're always trying to find just the perfect kind of mesh of where I can take things off your plate without you feeling overwhelmed by the help,
Mhm.
or
Mm. Yeah.
uncomfortable by having someone in your space, because a lot of these people, it's not the norm to have somebody doing these things for you unless you're big scale. Obviously those big farms and trainers and people do have this type of support, but it's not typical for just your everyday whoever to be able to get these types of tasks done for them. And so
Mhm.
and since it's such a new kind of idea, I didn't want to like put any boxes around anything.
Mhm. Mhm. So give us a couple of examples of specific tasks that you do for people. If I was a trainer and I said I need your help, what kinds of things would you suggest would be appropriate for you to take off of my plate?
Yeah, so some of the biggest things are the organizational end of it, which
Okay.
a lot of people might not think of as tasks per se. But when we organize everything that you're dealing with, or all the information you have and all the things you have on your plate, that's like a really good first step for a lot of people like this, because seeing it clearly, sometimes that's just enough.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, I would say schedules is like a huge
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
Working on logistics for that. And it's funny because that was like one of my jobs when I was in corporate. And it was one of the parts of my jobs that I liked, was event scheduling and, doing all that.
Mhm.
But I love spreadsheets. So building spreadsheets for you that are very interactive so that they're easy
Mhm.
to read and look at a glance, replying to emails, all that kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, it's very open-ended to there's not a ton I would say no to as far as helping you on the organizational administrative side.
Okay. Good to know. So, can you tell a story about how you made a big difference for a client? Something that
Yes.
said, "You've just changed my life," or something significant like that. Tell us about something like that.
Yeah, so since the arena admin is such a new business,
Mhm.
like I said, we started back in April. I haven't worked with a ton of people yet.
Mhm.
And with that being said, one of my clients, she actually recently told me on a call that she really just liked having me work with her in general, because it felt like she was being held accountable in a good way,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
felt like more structured. And, it's kind of a big sub effect, if that's a word, of working with somebody when you're working for yourself, is
Mhm.
that you're kind of like, when you work for yourself, you're fully like, you're only accountable to yourself and then obviously your clients. But people who are self-employed often have like difficulties just because of the nature of working alone or with like a
Mhm.
smaller team. And so having someone working alongside you, solely looking at the business side of your business, that helps a lot with, I think, motivation too. But she really mentioned
Sure.
like she liked the accountability of, I know I have this meeting with you coming up, so I know I need to do this,
Yeah.
this, and this. So I
Yeah.
really loved that that was something she appreciated about working with me, other than just like a general, like, you do a great job with my emails or something. Because that really made me feel like, okay, I feel like I'm in the right space to be giving people the support, because if this, I mean, obviously it's one person, but if she's telling me just working with me in general is helping her a lot, that makes me feel so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as far as the horse industry, you've touched on that quite a bit, and just your familiarity with that. So, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that are maybe behind the scenes that people don't see? We go to a horse show or we go to the barn, and we're enjoying the horse side of the experience, or getting a riding lesson. But what are some of the big challenges that are happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned before, most people love the craft and not the business side as much necessarily. I don't want to put
Mhm.
words in anybody's mouth, but
Mhm.
I know I've just heard trainers in particular struggling with,
Mhm.
I want to train horses and maybe help people and give lessons and that kind of stuff, but doing all the other stuff exhausts me.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people don't realize all the logistical stuff that goes along with, running that type of business, especially because our horses are live animals. Something happens to one of them, that throws a big wrench in all the plans that you've made for
Right.
usually a good amount of time. So there's a lot of things that I think trainers just do out of obligation rather than like,
Mm.
oh, I love this. Like some of the examples I was thinking of were like your average like crafter or creative, let's say, because I do work with people other than trainers. They're not like, oh, I'm so excited to go home and send out all the contracts or invoices or whatever that I need to get out before I can continue to do what I love to do.
Right.
Like one of my clients, she's an equine photographer, and for her, social media is a really hard spot for her because she loves what she does, but then being intentional and thinking of new ideas, that's just not her strong suit. And so that's where I can step in and like give her some help and some guidance, fully based on how she wants to show up for her brand. And
Mhm.
then going back to the horse trainer, your average horse trainer isn't coming home after riding 7, 8 horses saying, oh, I can't wait to email everybody back and keep up with my bookkeeping. Like it's a lot to do to run your own business, especially in this industry where we are doing things all the time. Like there's no off
Mhm.
season.
Right.
So I think that just a lot of people could use help, but again, a lot of people aren't used to the fact that they could get help doing these things.
Mm.
And
Sure.
my biggest kind of hope for my business is that I want to keep people loving what they do, not resenting it, because a lot of the time that resentment can come from I love training horses, but I hate doing all this other stuff. Or I love being a photographer, but I hate doing all these I hate chasing people for money, or I hate,
Mhm.
getting my calendar filled. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot
Yeah.
of different it like I said, it's so open-ended, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in your opinion, what makes our industry unique than others, or other small businesses that you've been a part of, or
Yeah,
even the corporate world? I mean, you've got a bunch of different work experiences for yourself. Tell us a little bit
yeah.
about how we're different.
So, I mean, the industry is so unique, and the reason I love it so much is because I would say 99% of us are in it for more than just us, and our passions run deeper than just like
Mhm.
a typical industry or business. If you took away most of our professional involvement, whatever it may be, in horses, we would still love the horses. They're kind of two separate things. And then it's also a mutual passion between my clients and I. So that's like a huge thing where I
Yeah.
think we can do a lot of great work because we have so much in common, no matter what space that they're working in. And in a lot of other small businesses, like if you think about, I don't even know, like just like a crafter of some sort,
Mhm.
they may love what they do, they may be passionate about what they do, but that typically isn't their whole life. They usually have other, like their hobbies are separate. Their what they like to do in their free time is something else. And that's not us. We love our horses. That's like our
Right.
whole lives. So even if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, the love of the horses in the industry would never go away. And I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah. I'd never considered until something you just said. Um, I'd never considered the horse business or um, small business owners who are in the horse industry as mission driven. We all have the same passion. I work in the nonprofit space and during my day job,
Yeah.
and so in that world, we talk a lot about being mission driven and being purpose driven. Like we're all working towards the same goals. And I hadn't considered the horse industry being like that, but really it is. It's also probably nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make
It feels like that.
But the the center, everybody is centered around the same thing, the success of the horse and human pair combination as well. But we all have the horse at the center. So yeah,
Right.
hadn't considered that before. So then digging in a little bit to the tools, the specific tools that you use, talk to us a little bit about building systems and tackling all the digital chaos that we find ourselves in. What are a few of your favorite tools or systems that you use?
Yeah, so I'm actually like pretty simple. You think you might, some people might think of my business and think, oh, she's got all these crazy platforms and whatnot that she uses. But really, I have three main things that I use, and obviously there's one-offs, but my first one is the Google Suite. I use
Mm,
Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Calendar, forms, literally everything that I can in there. My
yeah.
favorite reasons for using Google specifically is just how easy it is to collaborate with others. You can share anything and you don't have to give like full access to somebody to your account. So you can just share like what someone needs. And I think it's super user friendly as well. Excel can get a little messy. I have used Excel in corporate and I had to take classes for it in college. But I think Google Sheets is just a little bit easier for most people to learn how to
Mhm.
use. Um, and then my second one that I really like is Notion. I use Notion for planning and my content calendars for the most part. But I also just use it as like a general organizer, as like all the things that I need to know long term live in here. So
Okay.
like my entire business plan lives in Notion for both of my businesses. Um, and I do all my content planning in there. So that one's a really helpful tool as well. It's also free. All these things are free so far that I've said. And I'm a big advocate for that, especially because I want to help people and I don't want them to be like, oh, I gotta invest in this subscription and this subscription and this subscription. So, and then my third one is that I love to use Canva, which is free to a certain point. I use it more than the free would allow. But Canva is so awesome. Again, so user friendly, so easy to just design a quick template or graphic. I love their whiteboard features for brain dumps where I just like need to get everything out and I can move things around and put in pictures and do all sorts of different stuff. I use Adobe Suite for more of my photography and design work. It's just more of a learning curve that you need to go through to kind of understand it.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger investment. So that's why I like it for those things, but I think Canva is good for almost any small business owner. I think that's
Mhm.
good enough, unless obviously you're in the design space. But yeah, those are my main three. I don't use anything super fancy, crazy. Um, but I mean, I have used a lot of systems in the past, so I do have knowledge of lots of different ones, but these are my
Mhm.
favorites that I've chosen to implement.
Yeah. So then, I haven't heard of Notion, so I'll have to check that out. I'm a fan of
Yeah,
Canva as well, and Google.
yes.
Love Google. Um, how do you help a client who's either overwhelmed by technology, or who has used technology but uses antiquated systems or methods? How do you tackle that?
Yeah, so for people who are overwhelmed with technology, my biggest thing is meeting you where you're at.
Mhm.
I don't want to be someone that comes in and creates problems because my ideas, even if they seem right to me, they're not for you. Because if I do XYZ and I make the client embrace all of this technology, if that's not them, they're not going to like it. So they're not going to use it.
Mhm.
It's going to make them feel uncomfortable in their own business. And again, my thing is it's their business. I want to do what aligns with them and what they feel comfortable with. And so with that being said, obviously working with me, there's gonna be some changes. That's why you're hiring me.
Right.
Um, but I really like to take it at people's pace and
Mhm.
implement things as they feel comfortable because it's their business and I'm fully respective of that and want them to truly feel relief from the things that I implement rather than feeling overwhelmed or like it's too much at once and those types of things.
Hmm. Yeah, that's huge. Um, so what about tips for listeners who are trying to get their horse show, um, all the details that come with showing, whether it's an amateur or a professional? Um, a lot of paperwork, entries, nominations, futurities, payments, reservations, logistics, like you mentioned earlier, travel, all of those pieces. If somebody's not ready to hire you for help yet, what would be some of your top tips? I've noticed, by the way, side note, on your Facebook page, some of those kinds of things. So thank you
Yeah.
for investing in us even before we knew the things that you're sharing with us today. But what are some of those tips that you would give somebody who says, I don't feel like I need to hire somebody, but what are some nuggets that somebody could walk away with?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the main things that I've learned and really try and get people, if they're going to take one piece of advice, take this piece of
Mm-hmm.
advice,
Mm-hmm.
is block out time in your schedule to do admin or organizational tasks.
Mm.
Because if you are intentionally saying on Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m., I'm sitting down for 1 hour. It doesn't have to be like I'm blocking 5 hours to get all this done. But if you intentionally schedule time to do these things, you're more likely to do it. Because a lot of the time, your organizational and administrative tasks take a back seat in your to-do list and they get put on the I'll do it when I have time, or I'll do it later, or well, this is working well enough, I'll fix it later. Because every time you're doing that, you're really just creating more difficulties for yourself instead of
Mm-hmm.
just going to the root and saying this is a priority, because truly it is. It's just in typical, like, I don't know, mainstream like fashion, we don't see those things as being like as important as all the other parts because there are so many moving parts, especially in our industry. Because again, we have that big animal that we've got to keep in mind.
Right.
um And then another option that I do have, and I mean, I'm open to doing this for a professional or, someone who just is a big amateur and they show like their show schedule is crazy, is that if you're not ready to hire help, I do strategy calls, and that's just like a one-time thing, no
Mm-hmm.
obligation after that point. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes talking things out and getting another set of eyes on what you're doing and, just having a conversation that is solely based on the organizational and admin things is helpful just to get you put on the right track, you know, um, sorry,
It's okay.
um, getting you on the right track, getting your mind moving in that
Mm-hmm.
direction,
Yeah.
um, all those types of things. So that's another thing. I know it is still sort of it's a smaller investment than, hiring help to do something, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that as this is kind of an idea I had the other day. I was like, it's kind of like a little mini therapy sesh for your business. So we can talk about anything that needs to be talked about and strategize how to make that better for you. And like I said, no obligations, because I hate that, and I would never implement things where it's like, well, you did this, so now you're stuck with me forever. But yeah, so I also do one-time projects. So if you're like, hey, if I had this type of spreadsheet made, it would make my life a million times easier. I can build something for you. We can do a quick call on how to use it, and bam, you're on your way and getting things run more smoothly. I also do hope to put out some more, like you said, I do try and share
Hmm.
educational stuff, but I do hope to put out some more like in-depth things in the future. So hopefully that will be helpful to bleh, these types of people as well.
Yeah, yeah. So then tell us a little about your brand, the brand, the Arena Admin. How have you either shaped or hope to shape the brand identity?
So one of the things I really pride myself on is being approachable in general. And
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that the arena admin felt the same. You know, people are trusting me with their business, which is usually when you're a small business owner, like your business is your whole life. Especially in, I mean, for all the stages, but especially in the beginning stages. And it can be really scary to like have somebody else's like hands be in it kind of. And so being transparent and friendly and approachable are all things that I really wanted to make. I That's the way I wanted to present myself within my business. Um, I never wanted somebody to feel like their business wasn't big enough or they weren't on the right track or any of those types of things if they wanted to talk to me. I want it to be very, again, meet you where you're at. I am
Mhm.
open to whatever you need help with because that is like truly what this is about is I want to help you. And then for I really wanted to make the arena admin very much a Western business. That's just where my passion lies.
Mhm.
I I've always loved the Western industry. I started out writing English, but once I went over, I haven't gone back. And so for that aspect of my business, I think it's just again me being true to myself and, really being able to support the people that I think I would work best with.
Mhm.
And I just in general wanted this brand to be me because you are working with me. I'm not an agency where you're gonna work with this is just the brand, but we have a bunch of people here. Like, no, it's me. And so I wanted that to come through in my brand.
Yeah, for sure. So, what do you think it takes, or what does a great working relationship look like? Like really granular at the granular level. Is it lots of texting? Is it phone calls? Is it email? What does that working relationship look like between you and the client?
Yeah. So again, it's so open-ended.
Hmm.
I would say I mostly work in email and then like the occasional Zoom call, depending on what types of projects I'm working on and,
Hmm.
kind of how much of that face-to-face time we need. But I'm fine with all the things. And as far as what I need from people is all I need from you is your willingness because
Yeah.
I I have always stood firm in the fact that I never want to make someone feel obligated to do something because I hate that. I don't want to be salesy. That is not the approach that I've taken with my brand or the way I want to work with clients. Um, I don't try to just sell what I do because I want to genuinely help you. And so all I need is your willingness to come to me and ask for help basically because
Hmm.
if you're not willing like it's just not going to work because you're not going
Right.
to want me in your business telling you the things that could help you or make it run better or any of those things. So
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
long as you are willing and want to try, that is all I need.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you ever show up in person? Does the work ever happen face to face? And what's that like?
So it hasn't yet. I
Okay.
haven't gotten to do anything in person yet. I would love to in the future.
Hmm.
With my business being new, I really wanted to use, this first chunk of time to really build my foundation and be strong because I think my thinking was if my business is a mess, why do I have the right to tell anybody else that I can fix theirs? So that was super important to me. But I really would love to attend events as like my business, as my as it grows and as opportunities present themselves, I've gotten the chance to chat with some people at shows as when I've been a second shooter, but I haven't gotten to like intentionally go and do that yet.
Sure.
And then one of the ideas back in that car ride when this all started was that maybe one day I would get the chance to offer some sort of in-person organizational thing for potentially tack rooms or trailers. So that is my bread and butter. I love it.
Yes, amen to that. I have taken pictures of somebody's horse show tack room and dressing room setup because starry-eyed, standing there
Yes.
looking at it, admiring it. Yes, shelves and hooks and baskets and tables and all of it. Yeah, it's important, especially I can imagine as a trainer. I'm not a trainer, but a trainer who has all these clients who are hustling and they're nervous and they don't necessarily know where things are. When things are well organized, helps everybody kind of stay somewhat in order.
Absolutely. I love my favorite thing, and this is very specific that I've seen people do for shows,
Uh-huh.
is have those embroidered garment bags where
Oh,
they say
yes.
their name and then what, like
Right?
English, Western,
Western
whatever.
English. Right, right. Agreed.
Love. Oh, those
I
make
show
my
in
heart
one class,
happy.
so those would not be necessary for me. However,
You
someday,
can appreciate them.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see them. I'm like, oh, that's
I
amazing.
love
That
it.
yeah, yeah. So and so smart. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe someday. Okay, some fun stuff. Maybe you've already said this to us, but tell us again. What's your favorite part of this job?
So my favorite part of the job, um, again, it is the every day is different. I get to work with people, which
Hmm.
that was one of, so to give a little bit more context, my
Yeah,
corporate job was good at first. I enjoyed what I was doing. I was working with people and doing lots of different things. But then when the auto worker union strike happened
yep.
back in 2023,
Hmm.
my role changed. And so I was no longer working with people. And that was like a huge hit to what I love to do because I love
Hmm.
to chat. I love to come up with plans and collaborate and help
Hmm.
people. And so the working with people and every day being different are my two favorite things.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Okay. What's one tool, tech item, or trick that you'd never survive show season or I guess on the photography side of your business or in general, your virtual assistant?
Yes.
What can you not live without?
So it's not even that exciting. I'm sorry for the people who are hoping that this would be a really exciting because my favorite tool or trick or whatever is I just love my spreadsheets. I make my spreadsheets my tool. And like I sometimes I really want to just walk around and show people my spreadsheets because I'm so
Okay. Next time I see you, I'm going to say, show me a spreadsheet.
okay. And I will. And I spreadsheets and lists. Very basic,
Okay.
but I think that I stand firm on the fact that organization does not have to be fancy or over the top.
Yeah.
It just needs to work for you. And for me,
Yeah.
it is written out things like that.
Okay. Some rapid fire questions. Coffee or sweet tea?
I actually don't drink either.
What?
I'm a big Coca-Cola girl, but other than that, just water.
Okay. All right. All right. So there's some caffeine in there.
Just a little, yes.
Um, Boots or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Okay. Inbox zero or organized chaos?
0. 100%. I cannot stand having notifications. Everything gets opened and organized in almost immediately.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Your favorite horse show snack?
So I'm usually really bad about eating when I'm at a horse show because of, like if I'm showing because of the
Okay.
nerves.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose like a horse show food that I do like, I love a walking taco. That is always what I would choose.
Those are so good. Agreed. Yeah,
Yes.
those are really good. We just had those actually at the Ohio show, back at the trailer, walking tacos.
Oh,
Yep,
I love it. That's
so
the
good.
best.
If I'd known, I would have invited you. So I'll
Oh,
keep that in
thank
mind
you.
for the future.
Okay.
And I would have asked to see your spreadsheets. I will
Yes.
now.
Okay,
I'll show you my list and I'll ask to see your spreadsheet.
perfect.
So, just to wrap it up a little bit, for anybody who's listening and drowning in admin work, what's the first thing that they could delegate today to you to feel less overwhelmed?
Again, just going back to the basis of every business, it's
Yep.
those systems being created and the workflows.
Mhm.
Because once you have that, a lot of the time, all the other things you feel like you're struggling with become easier.
Mhm. Okay. How can listeners get in touch with you or learn more about working with the Arena admin?
Yeah, so my website is just thearenaadmin.com, and on
Okay.
there you will find pretty much all the information I have right now. And then I'm the arena admin on Instagram and Facebook. And then I did want to mention I do offer free 15-minute discovery calls to anybody who is interested, just to come on and chat and see if there's anything I can do to help you and learn about your business. So that information is on my website as well.
Okay. Um, any exciting plans or future expansion for the Arena admin?
So this is a little fun because this is the first time I've actually spoken on it publicly. There's a few people I've told about it, but so I actually have like a little sub project that I built into the arena admin from the start that has taken a back seat as I get all this stuff up and going, but it is called First Gen Equine. And if you've been on my website, you may have seen the coming soon page for that. But basically, it is just a big passion project of mine that will involve resources and information and community for those of us that are first generation equestrians because it's something that I'm very passionate about.
Hmm. I love that. When you said first gen equine, I was like, I have no idea what this is going to be. Very
Yes.
cool. Very
Yes.
cool.
Thank you.
I love that. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for the investment in our community. I'm excited to catch you in the early stages of your business, just to help spread the word about what you're doing. The horse industry needs. We need you. We need your help. We need your spreadsheets, girl,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, thank you so much for having me. When I got your message, I was so excited because I am very passionate about what I do, and I was so
Mhm.
excited for a chance to talk about it with other people.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you behind the camera or perhaps helping us in
Yes,
our daily chaos. We appreciate you.
absolutely.